Hi everyone, I hope everyone has had a really nice and spooky day today, and today I'm going to be continuing my Nightmare on Elm Street franchise review series with A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. I was super excited to check this one out because I've heard a lot of really great things from it, and I'm really happy that in my entire life of existence I never really got spoiled by anything in this movie, so a lot of things were surprising in good ways, and I'm just excited to sit down today and talk to you guys about my newest favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Yeah, this beats the original for me and I'm excited to talk about why, but before I do that, let me know down below in the comment section what you think about this awesome movie. Do you like it? Do you not like it? And let me know if you prefer this one or the original. I'd love to hear everything you have to say down below. And this review will contain spoilers and there is a lot to cover, so let's get started. A psychiatrist familiar with knife-wielding dream demon Freddy Krueger helps teens at a mental hospital battle the killer who is invading their dreams. So my absolute favorite thing about this movie is that Nancy is back. You guys know that in the last Nightmare on Elm Street review that I did, I said I wish Nancy was back because I just really like her character, and the moment she arrived, that was such a good scene. I didn't even think that that was gonna happen, honestly, and I was just so surprised and so happy, and Nancy was awesome in this movie. I really liked what happened with her, and I didn't expect her to die at the end. Like, I was so shocked that she died. I was like kind of sad. It like hurt me in my feels. I know I'm getting so ahead of myself because I'm talking about the ending already, but like I just needed to say that I loved what Nancy did here because she was like the voice of these teenagers that were going through these things in the psych ward, and I think the concept that's explored in this movie of all of these teenagers that are experiencing the same thing and they're all in the same psych ward is really interesting because it led to a lot of really fun sequences that I really enjoyed, and I kind of like that Nancy was the one to be like, yeah, I understand that. And that scene when she first pops up when she's finishing the little nursery rhyme that Kristen is singing was really great. And speaking of Kristen, I also thought she was a really great character, and that goes for all of the people in this movie. I think this movie has really likable characters, and that's one big reason why I prefer this one to the original, even though the original is still a really great movie. I did mention in that review that I felt that these people that we were supposed to be like following were not really that likable except Nancy, and in this case I think they're all pretty likable because we kind of get to know them a little bit more, especially because we know their condition, and also we understand that they're all going through this together. And I also think it's really cool that they all have different traits when they go into the dream world. I think that was such a cool fun take. You have the kid that can walk in his dreams, and you know, it leads to like a little bit of emotion in those because it's kind of things that they wish they had, and they have that in the dream world, and it kind of felt like they had superpowers. And in a way this movie reminds me of something like that because they each have something to do in the dream world. And I really liked how Kristen, she could like bring people into her dreams. That scene when she does that with Nancy is so cool. I loved it so much. Freddy Krueger in this movie was really cool as well. The kills in this movie were so creative, and I think the most creative out of the franchise so far. Like the one where it was the kid that would sleepwalk and stuff, and like, you know, he pulled stuff out and he was like playing with him like a puppet, and he ultimately looked like he killed himself, but it was Freddy who basically threw him off. Stuff like that is so creative and so interesting, and I just really enjoyed that a lot. And I also like how we got background on Freddy Krueger in this movie with Nancy's dad, who I was also super surprised that he was back, but we kind of learned more of like where he was buried and stuff, and I thought that was really interesting. And also the nun in the movie, like, what? Literally the whole time I was like, how are they gonna explain this nun that keeps popping up? And at the very end it shows she was Freddy Krueger's mother. Like, that was so cool. I would have never thought of that myself, and I just really appreciate that the movie did that because it surprised me in the best way possible. And I also want to talk about Neil Gordon because he's actually a really good standout in this movie. I like how he was like rooting for Nancy, but at the beginning of the movie, you know, he was like a little bit concerned when she was gonna come into the psych ward, and then he just like, I like how he was supporting her mostly throughout, but he was still having some confusion because obviously he doesn't know the situation, so he's gonna have a little bit of confusion. And I just thought he played that really well alongside Nancy. I like seeing them together, and it was so sad when Nancy died because like he was like, I don't want Nancy to die, and I didn't want Nancy to die, so I was like, Gordon, I am with you. We don't want this girl to die. And I want to take a moment to just appreciate the direction of this movie because Chuck Russell directed this movie in the best way possible, and I just really like how this movie looked stylistically. A lot of it felt really imaginative, which makes sense because, you know, they're going into this imaginary imaginative dream world, and you really just got a lot of cool set designs and production designs in this movie, and the direction just looked so nice, and it was like really nothing we've seen before in the franchise thus far. Wes Craven obviously did a great job in the original, but I think in this one there's something so different going on that I was just really into it, and Wes Craven came back and he wrote this one, and I think he did a great job writing it. This movie so far feels the most like imaginative and just creative, because it takes concepts from the first movie but builds upon them in really creative ways. Like, there were so many really cool sequences that I just really liked, and a lot of different introductions to this world, and I think this movie really paid attention to the world building, and I think that was something that lacked in A Nightmare on Elm Street 2: Freddy's Revenge, but here they really honed down on that and did the best they could to do that. And the practical effects looked pretty good. There were a couple of scenes where you can obviously tell it was fake, but for the most part, 9 out of 10 times, it looked really great, and I enjoyed that a lot. The gore, like I said, at its finest. It was really good here. I also really like the music of this movie as well. I feel like I forgot to mention that in my previous 2 reviews, but the music in A Nightmare on Elm Street is always really nice, but here it was like a standout. I really liked the music that was in the movie, and I think of Nightmare on Elm Street is really good at just building that ambiance, and I'm just gonna emphasize it again. The world building here was spectacular because I just really enjoyed it. Something that I wish we could have kind of gotten more of. So Nancy talks about how her and her father aren't really on speaking terms, that their relationship fell apart after her mother died, and we get that scene when they like reunite for her to ask him for help, and he's kind of like not really willing to help and stuff, and Gordon is literally like gonna attack him, you know, that scene. I kind of wish we would have gotten more of Nancy's, I guess, inner struggle with her relationship with her dad, because I think what we got was good, but I wish we would have gotten a little bit more with that, because I think they could have done some more development there. Like, maybe even if they would have killed Gordon in front of Nancy and kind of just made her suffer a little bit more. I know that sounds really dark, but you know, I just kind of wish they would have played a little bit more on that, because I think that was like, I guess, I don't know if that's like her, I don't know if I should call it her weak point, but she obviously cares about her dad, but their relationship is just not working out, and I think it would have been kind of good to continue that a little bit more, because it was a little bit vague in my opinion. Other things that I kind of didn't really like about the movie, there were 2 people, and one of them was a nurse at the psych ward, and the other one I think was like, not a janitor, one of the people that was like on night duty, I guess, to like lock the doors and stuff, and they both were insinuating that they were like with these younger kids, and it just made me feel really uncomfortable. I feel like there was really no point for that to be in the story. Like, one of them was the woman, she got like completely naked in front of this guy, and like it was actually a dream, and it ended up being Freddy Krueger, but it was just really unnecessary in my opinion. Like, they could have really made their way around that and stuff. And then the other one, the girl, she's like coming out of a room, and then he's like, oh, I have night duty or whatever, and he's like getting close to her, and he's telling her that like they have drugs or something, you know, whatever. The conversation is irrelevant. The point is, it made me uncomfortable, and it made me even more uncomfortable, because I feel like if you took both of those scenes out, the movie would have stayed completely fine and would have continued the same way. So just adding those makes me feel really weird, and I wish it wasn't in the movie, honestly. Even with the negatives that I think the movie has, I think this movie's gonna be one of the better sequels. I haven't seen the other ones, obviously, so I don't know yet, but for now, this one is awesome, and it's my favorite in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise so far, so I'm going to give Dream Warriors an A. I think this is one of the funnest ones, honestly, and also I forgot to add before I gave my grade, but this is gonna be really rewatchable because it was just so much fun. It felt kind of like an adventure horror movie, and I know I'm gonna be so excited to revisit it in the future. So if you haven't seen this movie, Dream Warriors, I really suggest watching it on HBO Max. Thank you guys so much for watching today's review, and before you leave, if you haven't commented down below what you thought of A Nightmare on Elm Street Dream Warriors, let me know down below. I'd love to hear all about that, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video, because it really helps support out the channel. And also make sure to follow me on social media. They're always linked down below, but on Twitter and Instagram it's at Jennifer V Movies, and on Letterboxd it's just at Jennifer Vega. So make sure to just follow me on all of that to stay up to date, and I hope you guys continue to have a very spooky day, afternoon, morning, whenever you guys are watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone!